What is going on, everybody? Let me get a mic check. Can you guys hear me? Weird. I don't think that it was there playing any sound for that thing on the countdown? I don't know if it was for me. I didn't hear anything, so let me know. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Mic check. 1, 2. I know, man. It's quality show, right? Right off the bat. Technical problems. Let's see if the chat catches up here. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Submission Fishing Live. I'm your host, Muto. Thank you for joining us. We're just here to get our black belts in fishing. I've got a show today. I want to talk about delayed 2.5 seconds. Again, man, I don't know, dude. I've tried to get this audio freaking figured out for for freaking the longest time. It's like pissing me off. Well, you know what's crazy? I tested it too. Like before I did like a test stream, I recorded it and then I played it back like through the browser and everything looked good. I don't know why it's like so lag. Let me try to unplug it real quick. Yeah, it's been like the last 3 weeks has been like that. I have no clue what's going on. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the show. Who we got in the house? Leonard Oos, what's going on? Steven Gage, welcome to the show. Glad you could join us. Benji Moreno, Oos, what's going on, dude? Marcus Couch, what's up? 20 Dorado yesterday out of Dana Point. 2 of us, incredible action all day. Yeah, Dan, it's still on fire, man. Those Dorado are still popping off like crazy. Jessica Mura, Oos, welcome to the show. Eric, the Judge, Lehman, welcome to the show. Oos, I see that chat emote. Benji Moreno, what's going on, brother? Glad you could join us. Glad you could be here. Salty Dangler, Oos, welcome to the show. Spinning Rod Rebel, Marvin, show me those pineapples. Heck yeah, man. Pineapple pizza, Team Pineapple all the way. Let me, maybe if I drop the webcam, resolution would be better. Let's see. Doug, Ruben Alsueño, welcome to the show. Captain Dan, Hot North County greetings from Pala MX Track. Oos, glad you could join us, Captain Dan. Good stuff. Brian likes to fish. What's going on, dude? Welcome to the show. Yeah, late in senior audio and video. Man, I'm telling you, dude, it's been a thorn in my side the past couple of weeks. Just wear a mask, we'll never know. You're probably right. You know, it's funny because you see the math. What if like I just cover my face with the microphone? Then you probably won't even know. Then it won't even be an issue. That's pretty funny. Min, welcome to the show. Tapping in, glad you could join us, dude. Welcome. Zachary Riggs, Oos, welcome to the show. Fishing Reps, Oos, welcome. Peter 86, welcome to the show. Oos, glad you could join us. What about fresh anchovies on submission at Sea Pizzas? I mean, ask Captain Dan. I don't see why not. I mean, we'll probably have the anchovies, right? Right? Or that might be hard to hear. That's pretty funny. Let's see here. Eric the Judge Lieben says, what'd you say about the 20 gram? 20 gram is for the bay. So let's talk bay fishing. Well, what do you want to talk about bay fishing? You have a specific topic? My question is, do they have tuna in the bay? Are the Dorado in the bay? Salty Dangler. What's bay fishing? It's offshore season. Salty's right. Salty is right. It is offshore season for sure. Yeah, so for today's show, we got the usual. We'll take your guys' questions. I'll do some Instagram questions. And then I want to talk about what does it take? How long does it take to be a professional angler? Or not a professional angler, an expert angler. Is there an actual number? You know, I've just been going over a couple things. You know, kind of martial arts related, business related, professional related that kind of tie into it. So we'll see what you guys think. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe it has nothing to do with it at all. And maybe there is a number, maybe there is some formula to it. So we're gonna see. I'm excited to get your guys' opinions on what you think about that. See who else we got here. Peter 86, did I get you? I'll watch the replay. Oos, no problem, brother. Glad to see you there. See you soon. Anyone planning on fishing this weekend offshore? Be ready for the crazy patty boaters. Yeah. You know, it's funny. My boat's actually finished. Kevin, I almost forgot your name. So I'm going to pick it up tomorrow, but I don't think I'm going to go out this weekend. I'll probably wait till the week, go out midweek. Should be a lot better. Dundo's Fishing. Oos, welcome to the show. Glad you could join us, man. I want to know people's favorite setup for shore pounding. Oh, that's interesting. I'm not too much of a shore pounder, but I like to hear what people say in here. I can give you my opinion on it, what I use, but some of these guys are much better than me. Short answer, a lifetime. Okay, let's not start picking. Dude, I love bait fishing. Everybody loves bait fishing, but I think there's a time and a place. There's a time and a place for both. Like there's a time when you just got to be like, look, it's time to offshore fish and it's time to bait fish. If you're bait fishing right now, I think you're kind of doing it wrong a little bit because the offshore fishing's so good, guys. The Dorado, the yellowfin, the yellowtail, there's still bluefin out there, bluefin and yellowfin popping off at the same time. If you've got the means to get out on the bay and you're choosing the bay over like offshore fishing, I mean, I don't know. I think you should at least get out there one day on the offshore. That's just my opinion. For those of you guys asking why I'm hiding my face with the mask or with the mic, because I think I have a delay, so I'm trying to cover it up. Maybe it looks like I'm eating the microphone, but whatever. We'll make it work. I'm not offshore fishing this weekend. Yeah, this weekend it's going to be crazy, dude. It's going to be nuts. I mean, the word is out. Everybody knows the bites popping off. It's going to be crazy. Maybe next week, middle of next week, we'll go. 10 months of bait fishing. I think we can talk offshore for 2 months. Dang, man. Salty throwing the shade on the judge. My question is about bay is how do you find the clam beds? I don't know. What is this, Florida? The clam beds. TB Metal Art. Oos, welcome to the show. What would I be looking for on it? I don't know the answer to that, Eric. Honestly, I don't. I don't know. I don't have like a secret sauce to finding the clam beds. So I'm probably not the. I'm really not sure. Maybe some of these guys know. Go diving to find clam beds. There you go. Yeah, I don't know if you can see them. Like if you're looking for like a solution to find them, like on the sounder or on the fish finder. I don't know if that's a thing. I've never really seen it. You can find the bumpy structure, I think, but I don't know like what a clam bed looks like on the fish finder, to be honest with you. But resolution in the right transducer, yeah. I mean, even still, I think it's okay. Do you think we'll have the fish around for submission at sea? Super excited for this trip. For those of you guys that don't know what Benji's talking about, I've got a trip coming up September 24th. I chartered a boat. A lot of these guys are going. I think there's still a couple tickets left. It's $300 if you want to get on. We're going to go for a day trip on the Malahini. Benji, I think so. I hope so. Based on the way it's been, I don't think they're going to be going anywhere. So hopefully those Dorados stick around in the yellowfin. I think to some extent they will. I've never seen it this good. So there's a high likelihood that even on the off months, we still kind of get them, So I think they'll still be here. One of the theories that like Kevin had was that, or I don't know if it's a theory, maybe it's actual proven thing, but that the fish will start to get hungry around this time. And hopefully the fishing's even better. Earlier in the month and earlier on, the people were finding the Dorado and stuff like that, but they weren't eating. There was like tens of thousands of them offshore and nobody was getting bit. This was like earlier in the month, at the end of last month. And that's because they were just full. They were eating so much bait. So what we're thinking is, and hopefully what happens is they're getting stupider. You know how it's getting easier and easier to catch because as the bait gets more competitive, the tuna start rolling in. So we got bluefin here, we got yellowfin, we got the Dorado. Once they start eating all the bait and the bait thins out, that's what you want because then they eat anything. I mean, you basically throw any old crap in there and they'll eat it. So that's what we're hoping for. Hopefully they stick around and the bait stays thin and the fishing will just be fire. At least that's what we're thinking, man. So keep your fingers crossed that they'll stick around. I think so. I mean, it's the first day of September, so just 23 more days, and hopefully they stick around. So you guys do that. Go to submissionfishing.com if you want to buy a ticket. You can join us. It's just a day trip, no overnight or anything like that, which I think is be perfect because if the fish stick around, they're already here. I mean, we haven't been. You guys know if you're going offshore, we've only been having to go like 3-6 miles out. It's crazy. It's been pretty good. So we'll see. We will see. I hope so, Benji. I think it will. What do you guys think? You're fishing this weekend, Kevin? Yeah, dude, I called. I didn't think it was going to happen. They got my transducer. So you guys, I got a Airmar transducer put in. I got a Simrad. I forget which Simrad. It's like the newest one. It's pretty badass. I didn't get the trolling motor put on yet, but I got the radio put in, so I don't have my little handheld one anymore. So I'm gonna pick that up tomorrow, which is exciting because I got it and I want to go out, but I don't think I'm going out. I think I'm gonna wait till next week. Go in the middle of the day, like Tuesday or something, when everybody's off the water. Man said agreed. Offshore is it right now. Yeah, dude. I agree with you. You gotta find the clam beds, dude. Who knows how to find clam beds? Did you guys figure that out? Yeah, Brian said that. I'll be out there all 3 days. That's crazy, dude. That's just what you do, though, Brian. You gonna go offshore? That's the question. Are you gonna hit the bays, or are you gonna actually go offshore? That's what I want to know. Let's see. All right, Kevin says he's ready. No doubt. Be ready. Oos, let's go. Hell yeah. Oh, here we go to find the clam beds. Oh, yeah. I don't know if that's such good advice. I don't think those are the clam beds we're looking for. Well, maybe it is. I guess it depends what you're into. Denny Perez, Oos, welcome to the show. Glad you could join us. Yeah, clams. It's like a clams and crabs, spicy tuna, whatever you want. They got it for you. Right? See what you guys this would do. So when it's not fishy hour, you guys are like, oh, we can pop off on this show. It's okay. We'll allow it. We can be hardcore here. You know, Roman would have shut that down right away. It's not as kid friendly here, but we're gonna go with it. We like it. We don't have to be so strict. I hear the crabs are in Ramona. That's funny. Bring a bait rod. Had to say it. It's heartbreaking, Kevin. Yeah, if you guys are going on the trip and you haven't gotten Jessica your shirt size, make sure you let her know. Yeah, so we've got a shirt for you guys. For those of you guys that don't know, that's the logo that's going on the shirts. Limited edition. We're only doing this run, so if you're on the submission at sea, you're going to get one of those. They're pretty badass. I showed you guys their sun shirts, 50 SPF, pretty badass. So don't miss out on that. Are you going to set up a trip for 2023? Yeah, I think so. Depending how this one goes. I mean, already most people, the boat's full enough, so that's a good sign. So I think that's worth doing again. We'll see how everybody likes it. I think it's going to be a great time. Just hanging out with everybody and doing everything. So I do plan on it, unless it just like we go out there and everybody hates it and it's terrible. But I think it's pretty unlikely. So yeah, right now, Tran, I think we're gonna try to push forward for a 2023 trip. Do you think we'll have a heat wave we're having and the water temp should stay warm and the lines will be tight? Yeah, I think so. Even like the it's the current. We've been in like a La Nina, and even the heat wave doesn't affect, like, it eventually affects the water temp, but normally our currents come from like north and south. They push up from Mexico. This one's actually coming in from like east to west, or actually west to east. It's like pushing into the US right now, and where we are in Mexico. But a lot of times, like El Nino, it comes up from Mexico, and sometimes when the cold water, what we don't want is the current to change and the cold water comes from the south. So when it starts to spin and it comes from Alaska and then down Washington, Oregon, and then pushes. So what we don't want is the north to south current, because that's actually what causes the cold water. As long as it's coming south to north or pushing in from the islands like Hawaii and stuff like that, coming from west to east, we're usually pretty good. So as long as the current stays good, we should be good. I don't see any reason that it's going to change, but you can't predict water. You can't predict fishing, right? I can't guarantee that it's going to be balls out fishing. We hope it can, but nobody can predict that, man. Nobody, unfortunately, can predict that. So glad for Simrad. You're going to love it. Yeah. I was going to get like a hummingbird setup. Oh, dang, dude. You're a profile pic, Captain Dan. That's awesome, dude. That's wild. You look like a 70s, like David Bowie or something like that. It's pretty funny. Yeah, I went with the Simrad. I was going to get like a hummingbird with like the chirp and stuff like that, but Kevin talked me out of it. So we went with the Simrad and got the Airmar, which he was right, because it's like I don't plan on really doing base stuff in my boat all that much. It's mostly offshore, so got more of an offshore setup. Grotto time, that's right. Interesting. Clam beds you can find by feel also. There's a distinct feeling when you're only marking a soft bottom. That's interesting. So you like when you're dragging the A-rig or like the Ned rig or underspin? Is that what you're looking for? That's good stuff. I've never like targeted the clam beds. Usually I find the grass, but I fish a lot of docks when I'm looking for spotties and stuff. Although, to be fair, I don't think the docks were the ticket this year for the spotty fishing. Seemed like it was the grass and the offshore. Dude, Brian, your internet was so bad last night. Dang. Worse than mine, worse than my lag. Even though my internet's good, it just, I don't know what the hell's wrong. We're going to do the mouth cover. We're going to fake it. Fake it till we make it. It's a badass shirt. Get him, dude. You going, Zach? I don't remember. Maybe that's what it is. It's the heat, the internet heat. Spotty at best. Yo, yo, yo. Welcome. Glad you could join us. If you guys are seeing people type in oos in the chat, it just means that they've liked the show. So if you like the show, hit oos. Share it with your friends. Let everybody know we're on. If you like fishing, if they like fishing, I mean, even this chat, guys, is worth it. And then I'll get on to the main topic in a minute, but you guys can still just go ham here in the chat. I will fish Submission Fishing Company 40, 60 gram assassin 30. Yeah, dude, that 30, that 40 and 60 was the money on this last go around. I think because the bait is so small. Although I did catch one on the javelin, caught a nice yellow. Actually, it wasn't nice. It was a small yellowtail on the javelin. Mudo, what is the red and white placard on the wall to your left? This thing? That's a CCA. It's not a placard. It's like a CCA sticker. This is my black belt, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt certificate. It's just stickers that I stuck on there. Is that what you're talking about? So if you guys aren't a member of the CCA, what are you waiting for? Dang, guys, you heard it. You heard it here. Somebody make sure you screen cap this, so that way you can take it to the boat. Don't lose this. I'm going to leave it up here. Take a screenshot and give it to Kevin on the 24th. That's funny. Marvin, yeah, the CCA stickers. You guys got it. So let's see. There's nothing much in the news. The Dorado's still good. The bite's still on fire. I mean, nothing's changed there. We've been talking about this for weeks. If you guys get out, if you guys got the means to get out, go catch some of these fish. We got the submission at sea on the 24th. The pickle run, if you guys want to go with us, this is put together by the MMFC. Roman's putting it together. That's a fishing club I'm a part of. What we're going to do is launch kayaks from Dana Point, or not Dana Point. Damn, that'd be Dana Landing in Mission Bay. And we're going to kayak all the way down to San Diego Bay. Last year, I think it was a 10 or 12-hour trip. It's a long trip. It takes a long time. So definitely not something for beginners, but if you want a challenge, it's definitely fun. There's going to be a boat, that's got waters and in case somebody goes down. So we try to be safe. But if it's your first trip, I probably wouldn't consider it. But if you're more experienced or, you'd want to push, if you kayaked a lot and you want to push yourself, I did a video of it last year. So if you guys want to check it out, check out my YouTube. I got a pickle run video if you want to see what it's all about. So we got that going on the 10th. So that's next week, next Saturday. So that's fun stuff. You want to kayak with these guys, you want to meet some of us, it's definitely your chance. Come check us out. Go check out Fishy Hour. They do a live show. They had one yesterday, all about the pickle run. So check that out. Our own Brian likes to fish. He's a host on here. So Spotty Bull champion. Check him out. Go check out that show, guys, if you're interested. And yeah, I got a new video dropping. So I finished up if you guys are interested in the submission at sea and kind of what we're fishing for, I'm going to have a video. I think I'm going to launch it tomorrow or maybe this weekend. It's done. I just got to upload it. And it's all about catching these fish on the jig. So if you're interested in jig fishing, slow pitch jigging, the patties for fish, I didn't use any live bait. Me and Kevin just fished the artificials the whole time. Definitely a video you want to watch. I did some techniques with it, kind of showed you like what I was doing, how I was dropping it, how I was pitching it. And yeah, we just slayed them, man. So hopefully you guys can definitely check that out. Richie Rich, what's up, fellas? Oos, welcome to the show. SoCal Steve, so that means no bait either. Yeah, dude, no bait. Well, he says bring the bait rod. I might be doing a pre-pickle run this weekend. I think you can get it, dude. Don't even go south. Just go out. I wouldn't even go La Jolla. Just launch out of Mission Bay, dude, and just freaking go west. You'll run into it. I bet, because we go so far. If you went like 3 miles, 4 miles out, I guarantee, not guarantee, but you got a pretty damn good shot at finding them. They're pretty damn close. I think you can do it for sure. What size reel are you using? I use both. I have a 3,000 and a 4,000 based on if I'm throwing the 30 gram or the 40 gram. But yeah, I use them both. No bait. Oos. You guys, don't feel bad about using bait. If we go on the trip and you guys got to use bait, like it's not a big deal. Use the bait if that's what you're good. We're going to talk about this in this show. So if you feel like you got to use the bait, go ahead and use it. Yeah, really, it does depend, but bring both. Okay, let's see. We'll get through some Instagram questions real quick, and we'll get on with my little topic, my little spiel. See what you guys have to say about it. Let's see. Instagram says the Tuna God asked. He said, "Do I ever felt burnt out with fishing?" The Tuna God, thank you for the question. Yeah, I have felt burnt out with fishing when I fish like the same thing over and over and over again. Like 2021, like after Spotty Bowl, I don't think I fished spotties for like until it was like the next Spotty Bowl. So it was like I was so tired of fishing spotties. I think a lot of that was just like it was every week, and then it was like the same locations, time and time, hitting the same docks. It was like so repetitious and so long that I was pretty burnt out fishing spotties. This year, luckily, I had a crappy outing and I missed some days, so I didn't really do the Spotty Bowl. But it was like I have if I find I'm fishing the same stuff too much, I do get burnt out. But I think one of the great things about fishing is there's so many different things you can fish for. And even in the bays, it's like if you get tired of fishing spotties, you can go fish halibut, you can go fish sand bass. And what I'll do if I feel like I'm getting burnt out is I'll just target certain things, or I'll make it a challenge, or I'll try a new bait, like just through the day, right? Like that's all I'm going to fish. And that makes it challenging enough and then interesting enough. And it adds more flair. But yeah, if you're fishing like the same stuff, just over and over in the same locations, like that'll burn me out. But I think the one great thing about fishing is there's so many species, you can target so many things. It pretty much it stays interesting for me. Because I fish everything. Like I fished the baits like last year after Spotty Bowl. Like I was at La Jolla, like I think every weekend. I didn't even go back to the bays, and then basically I went into the bays. Now I go offshore, I do La Jolla, I do the bays. Like I fish everything, but sometimes it gets if you're just doing the same thing, same fish for same thing. And that's just me personally. I know some of these guys, they'll fish spotties all day in the same spot, and it's like 24/7. They love it. And I love the spotty fishing too, but it's like after so long, it's got to be broken up a little bit too. So at least that's just for me. I got to keep it fresh a little bit. But luckily San Diego here, we can don't get too burnt out on it, if you know what I mean. Ricky Nunez BJJ said, not sure if you covered this topic. Slow pitching in shallow waters under 20 feet. Ricky Nunez BJJ. Dude, we've covered that. That's been like that was my bread and butter on YouTube. Honestly, just check out some of my YouTube stuff. I did a whole video on fishing 20 feet and under docks and on water a couple months ago. So you can check it out. I tell you how to fish it, what jigs to fish. But yeah, we use these jigs all the time, 15 feet, 10 feet. These guys fishing rep fishes them from shore. He did really well, second place in the shore division, fishing the sumos. I mean, right off the shore. Saltwater slaters in here too, like 10, 15 feet. They slay them, dude, on these 20 grams. So yeah, it's definitely doable. A lot of it's the same concepts, but yeah, we got tons of videos on it, man. If there's something you want to go into specifically, we definitely can, but just let the jig do the work. It's actually easier, I think, in shallow water because it's less you have to do with the jig. It's so short that the action just kind of does itself. But yeah, check out some of my older videos, and we got a ton of content on that, or even some of the old replays of this. We definitely get into that. Eric would love that. He'd love to talk to you about the shallow fishing. Dude, I'm super burnt out on docks, straight zombie fishing. Yeah, dude, for sure. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, it was like I know what you're saying. You're like you see the same damn docks every time, and you're just like you've thrown so many lures at them. You know, like what every boat looks like. You know the depth. It's like, yeah, it gets tedious sometimes. This year wasn't as bad because the spotty bowl was shorter, so I think it was better. It was shorter times and they were wider apart, so I think that was a great change, Eric. By the way, because it helped lessen that fatigue. Man, but that first year was like, and I only did half of it. You guys that did like the whole tournament back and forth, like crazy, man. You guys are nuts. Yeah, but it was good. And it was all day. It was from like, now we do it from 8 to 1. It used to be from like 8 to 8. It was, or 6, 6 to 8. Straight up like 14-hour days of fishing. Crazy. Yeah, 20 gram work everywhere. It fished the 20 gram from shore. 20 gram, no. Or in shallow water, no, I don't think so. He's asking if you need a slow pitch rod. I use a right now I've been using like a Phoenix M1, the M1 inshore spinning, the lightest one they make. It's pretty parabolic. But if I'm fishing docks, I don't really like a slow pitch rod. It's still got to be kind of soft and parabolic, but you don't need like a dedicated slow pitch rod for that. So short, but you also need the power to like pull them off of pilings and get them out of the grass. It's not necessary. You can use it, but it's almost better using a little bit of a stiffer rod since you're not using so much of the slow pitch action that we usually use offshore. You can get away with it. Yeah, man, that was when the Warriors. You talk about first year, Spotty Bowl's gonna grow, and like we're gonna be talking about singing songs of the old days of Spotty Bowl, or like back in my Spotty Bowl day. We fished 14 hours straight, 12 tournaments, 12 days. It was rough, man. All right, guys. That was all I had. So let's get into it. So my question is, on this show, my main goal is the whole thing is submission fishing, getting our black belts in fishing, right? That's the goal, being an expert in something, an expert in fishing. So what does it take? Is there a number, or what does it take to be an expert in fishing? Now, interestingly enough, there's a number that pops into my head, and the number is 10,000. There's a couple references here. The time it takes. So one thing so there's two things that relate to this 10,000. One thing that came to me because we were talking martial arts with somebody, and you guys know I do Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And when I got my belt, my coach said, he was like, Mike's got one thing he said I had a very basic game. And like some of the guys laughed and stuff. And he was like, oh no, it wasn't a joke. I didn't take it as a slight because I do have a very basic game. I use a lot of white belt stuff and blue belt stuff that I've just practiced like a freaking million times. over and over and over and over again, the same technique. What was interesting is another martial artist, as some of you guys know, is he has this famous quote that Bruce Lee said, and this is what I tell people this in jiu-jitsu. I use this quote all the time. So like I coach today, I coach jiu-jitsu today, and I use this quote, and I use it quite often. I was like, this relates to fishing too, but he says, I fear not the man who practiced 10,000 kicks once. So 10,000 different kicks once. No, I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. And that's a famous Bruce Lee quote. And I think it's pretty good because it's relatable to my game in jiu-jitsu, is that I don't do a lot. I'm not fancy, but I do the same thing over and over and over again. And I think in fishing, we kind of, I think we're all over the place and we don't use that enough. Where we're trying 10,000 things and we don't stick with something, and I think it's really important to practice one technique 10,000 times, cast it a million times, get good at something, before you move on and try a million different things. I think we kind of fall into the habit of trying 10,000 techniques, 10,000 lures, and we throw it once, we throw it twice, and we're like, oh, this doesn't work. And then we throw it away and we never become masters at anything. And then there was another thing along this whole 10,000 theme. You guys know Malcolm Gladwell. He's kind of like he's a business guy. He's a business leader. I think he does like speaking and stuff like that. He writes books. He does lots of podcasts. Anybody that's into like leadership and stuff like that, you definitely know Malcolm Gladwell. And basically he wrote this book about 10,000 hours. Let me see if I can bring up the quote. So it was like 10,000 hours to be an expert. So according to Malcolm Gladwell, he wrote this whole book, and it was 10,000 hours of practice is how long it takes to become an expert in something. Funny, it was 10,000 was this is the name of the book. And Bruce Lee had the 10,000 kicks analogy too. Now this is like more scientific. This is something he studied. He says, how long is 10,000 hours? It's roughly 5 hours of full-time work at 2,000 hours per year. If you do it at a hobby, 10 hours a week, it will take you 20 years to get to the expert level. 10,000 hours of practice is a long time. So yeah, if you guys want to check out his book, I know I haven't read it. My wife has read it. She actually references it a lot. I know it talks about like Mozart and all these people putting in the time, but it was interesting that Bruce Lee was talking about the one technique takes 10,000 hours to be a master. Malcolm Gladwell comes along in modern times and he's talking about how it takes 10,000 hours to be an expert at something. So I'm curious if you guys think that that's what it takes. Does it take 10,000 hours of fishing to become an expert? And how much are you fishing one thing? And is it beneficial to you? So I have had a couple examples, especially when me and Kevin been fishing a lot, on boats and stuff like that. One of the things like that I noted was when it came to Spotty Bowl. So the winners of people that did really well in Spotty Bowl. Brian's in here, and I know people that do well, they don't really fish that much different variety. I hate to break it to you guys, but let's take Chad from Hookup Baits, right? He got second place. That dude only fished hookup baits. I'm pretty sure the entire time. And he those are baits that he makes, but I think he fished the one jig and he got second place. Was what a quarter of an inch from Brian. I think it was a very, very close, very eked out Brian, but I know Brian doesn't use that many baits, right? I think the A rig is kind of your thing. Back in 2021, when I did really well in Spotty Bowl, I got a lot of awards back here. All I fished was slow pitch jigs. I fished nothing else. I didn't fish an A rig. I didn't fish anything. Like that's all I've done for like the past 2 years is basically fish jigs, slow pitch jigs of all types with the gear. And what's interesting is you don't see this huge variety of like people changing gear out all the time. And what's interesting is when you go on boats, so this leads me to this thing. When we go on a boat, it's like you hear the common thing that like, oh, bring something for everything, bring gear for everything. But should we be bringing gear that we don't know how to use? Some of these things, they take a long time to learn, and we instinctually bring stuff that like we don't even know how to fish. So me and Kevin were out there fishing, and we were on the boat. We were on this charter boat, and it was funny because we were just fishing artificials and jigs and stuff, and they'd see us catching fish on the jigs, and they'd go out and grab their jig stuff, right? And because they saw us fishing, they'd have a jig something rigged in, and they'd go out and cast it. Now, honestly, half the time they'd cast it, they got a huge backlash, um, or like it just didn't go anywhere. Like the jig would go up and down, and it didn't get the action, or they'd get a good cast and cast it. They'd reel it in once, they didn't catch a fish, and they would just shelve it. They would be like, me and Kevin were just kind of looking at each other laughing because like they'd reel it in once, they didn't get a fish, and it was like they put it away, back to the live bait, which is fine. I mean, you're there to catch. They were catching a live bait, like stick with it. But it was funny, they saw something catching, and they had this stuff rigged up, but I don't think they really know how to use it. So it's like, should we be using like surface irons? Surface irons are not easy to use, guys. If you have not, when I got my surface iron rod, this M&M one that I have, I think I went out to the jetty here in Carlsbad, and before I even got on a boat, I just went out and I cast that thing in the surf about 100 times with a surface iron on it, just so I can learn how to like cast this thing, because it was a new rod. It was a different reel, and I'd cast irons before, and it's like, and I'm still not like an expert surface iron fisherman, but surface iron fishing is not easy. You got to know the speed, you got to know the retrieve, and same thing with slow pitch jigging. It's like you got to kind of know the cadence and how to do it. So when we were fishing, even Kevin, we were out there. Kevin, I think, is one of the best surface iron fishermen here, and he was watching me. We were out, and he was like, "You got to reel faster," because I was reeling too slow, and I was like, "Oh, that's a good point. Like I like that tip." He was like, "Yeah, reel it faster, and point your thing at it." And it's like, I can't cast as far as Kevin, and I don't catch as many fish on the surface iron, but I can cast the surface iron well, and I know how to use it, but I'm not an expert with it. But at least I'm like, I'm competent with it, right? I'm definitely not a pro. Where Kevin is a pro, and he was giving me tips. But it seems like everybody brings a surface iron rod on these boats, but I think very few people actually know how to use the surface iron properly and well. And so it's like, should we even be taking this gear, I guess, is kind of my question. So when it comes to like the jig stuff, I was out. So Kevin was using primarily surface iron. When Kevin used the slow pitch stuff, Kevin wasn't catching as many fish as I was on the slow pitch gear. He was catching some, but it was like I was getting them like every cast. He wasn't catching as many because I've been throwing slow pitch stuff for 2 years straight. I know how to retrieve it. I know how to reel it. It's all I'm using. We go to the surface iron stuff. It's like Kevin was catching a fish freaking every cast on the surface irons, on the kicker irons. And it was like I was throwing them out there, and it's like I don't do nearly as well on the surface irons as Kevin does, even though we're throwing the same thing at the same fish. It's like there's definitely a difference. And that's not to say you shouldn't practice. You should be practicing, but I'm curious what you guys think. Like, should you even be rigging something, right? Do you need the popper rig? Do you need the surface iron rig? Do you need the slow pitch stuff rig? Do you need the live bait stuff rig when you really don't know how to use it? And I guess the moral of the story is you should be out at least trying it and practicing with it before you get on a boat. Even if there's not any fish, you should go out to a jetty. You need to be casting it. Because it's different, guys. When you guys get out there on the boat, or when a foamer's going, when the fish are boiling, they're exciting. Really trying to bomb out a jig, like when the excitement's high, dude, you see backlash. I still get them too. Every now and then I get a backlash. I've had a bad one before. I don't think I had any last trip, but they still happen to me. They happen to everybody, right? You still get that bad cast every now and then. It's going to happen, but you see it so many times. People get excited and they go to throw it, and it's just like they lose so many jigs, and it really does take time, and it takes practice. And I think what I'm trying to say is I think we just sometimes need to learn one thing and fish it and be good at it kind of before we start moving on to other things. Like I'll be honest with you guys. I've not thrown a popper. I've never thrown a popper in my life. I've never thrown a popper. I've never done it. I've never learned it. When I go out, I don't even bring like a popper setup. It's like, it doesn't look that hard, right? You just kind of, especially on a spinning reel, you're not going to backlash, but you kind of pop it on the surface, but there's a technique to it. But it's like, I know how to throw jigs and I know how to throw surface irons. It's like, Do I need to bring the popper when I don't really know, when my life depends on it? Do I want to be throwing the popper to like catch a fish when I don't know how to like really work the popper? Um, it's one of the things that I know they work. People have been killing it on the poppers. The poppers work. I've never thrown one because I've never needed to. So it's like it's not something I really bring in my repertoire. Um, but everybody seems to be. We just hear that adage like, make sure you're prepared for everything, and it's like, yeah, but can you throw a surface iron? Can you really? I don't know a lot of people that do it well, and that's not a slight, but I think you guys should practice, especially for submission at sea coming up. If you guys are planning on throwing jigs and stuff, go out to a lake, go out to a bay. You don't need to be on a boat. Just learn how to throw it, learn how to retrieve it, kind of get that motion going. So when it comes up to it, when you see that boil, when it's frantic, when everybody's scrambling on the deck, you're a little more relaxed. And you kind of know how to throw that thing. Are you going to get 10,000 hours? I mean, probably not, but maybe you can get 10 hours. Maybe you can get 1 hour. That's better than no hours. That's better than learning on the boat. But then you can work that way. And there's very few experts in anything. So 10,000 hours, that's a lot of hours. Um, that's a lot of hours to do anything in any profession, in any skill. And I'm curious if that works in fishing. I think you need more than 10,000 hours in fishing, just because there's so many techniques. I think he talked about Mozart and stuff, but it's like 10,000 hours. Okay, learning a piano. Well, that's like kind of one thing. There's different songs, but there's so many different techniques and stuff in fishing that you almost need 10,000 hours in like every style. You know what I mean? It's crazy. But that was just one of the kind of the observations I had. I'm curious what you guys think. Do you think the 10,000 hour thing's real? Do you think you can ever be an expert? Can you pick it up quick? Because one thing I hear too, this was something that was interesting, was you ever hear people ask about, you tell me we do kayak fishing. Like I haven't kayaked fished that long, 2 years, I think. I was shore pounding before that. I went on boats prior to that. And so I've only been kayak fishing, I think, since well, maybe longer than that, longer than 2 years now, a little longer than 2 years. But I talked to some people and they're like, oh yeah, I kayak fish. I've been kayak fishing for 10 years. I've been kayak fishing for 5 years. 7 years I've been kayak fishing. But it's like, but have you? Like, just because you've owned a kayak 7 years, does that mean how many hours have you put into that kayak? If you go kayak fishing 3 times a year for 3 years, you can surpass that person in a month with your fishing experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're not, same thing happens in jiu-jitsu where somebody will train. I did this too, where I trained like 5 years and my gym closed down, and I actually took like 3 years off before I started training again. But it's like, at that mark, when you come back, do you say you've trained jujitsu for 8 years? Like, not really. I've trained 5 years, but a lot of people will be like, "Oh, I've been training for 8 years." It's like, not really. Me and my jujitsu coach were actually talking about this. We're like, people say that where they've trained on and off, right, for 7 years, and they say they've trained 7 years. It's like, but have you really? If you've taken a year off here, a year off there, the time doesn't really add up. Like, have you trained 3 days a week for 7 years, or have you trained 1 year, 6 months, took 6 months off, took a year off, train, you know what I'm saying, and breaking up the time. So I see people telling me that they've been kayaking for like 7 years, like they know everything, but it's like, dude, you don't even kayak. Like, I've never even seen you on your kayak fishing. You know what I mean? Like, what do you fish? Like two weekends out of the year? You can you surpass these people. So it's like, it's not how long you've owned it, it's how much you actually use it. In the 2 years I've had my kayak, I've taken like that first year and a half, every single solitary weekend for like 12 hours, sometimes twice a week. It was like I was on that thing. So and I know a lot of you guys are too, but it's like, and you'll find yourself surpassing people that have the kayak. And a lot of people sell them, they have them for 3 years, and you go and look at them on Craigslist and they're like brand new because they bought them and they never really used them. But probably if you talk to that person, they'd be like, oh yeah, I've been kayak fishing for 7 years. Like, no, you bought the kayak 7 years ago, but you haven't been kayak fishing for 7 years. You actually got to put the time in, learn how to fish and do the thing. And I think we just sometimes need to slow down and practice one technique instead of 10,000 things. Because I think the people that fish 10,000 lures instead of one lure 10,000 times don't catch as many fish. Where you throw the net. Let's just take bait fishing. You ever thrown the Ned rig and it doesn't work? So then you throw the slow pitch jig and it doesn't work. So then you throw the underspin and it doesn't work. So then you throw the A rig and it doesn't work. And then you throw the drop shot and it doesn't work. Then you go back to the Ned rig, and then the Ned rig gets bit. So then you stick with the Ned rig for a little bit, then that doesn't work. And then you go, and he's like, you go through the cycle of all these different baits. Just choose one. Just pick one and fish it. Get good at it. If you decide you don't like it, you don't have to stick with it. Like if something's boring or it's not your style, that's one thing. But you really got to stick with that one bait and learn it before you move on to kind of the next thing. Because it takes a while. There's always that nuance in it, right? Like we have this thing in jiu-jitsu called hidden jiu-jitsu. So when you teach somebody a move, I can teach a white belt. I can teach anybody here how to do an armbar. And I can give you a class in an hour. I could probably teach you in 15 minutes how to do an armbar, where to put your feet, where to hold the shoulder, where to place your arms, or like a Kimura, right? For example, we teach this all the time to white belts. And you can do, and I could teach you how to do a Kimura. Let's say it's a shoulder lock. Everything I'll tell you all the details. Now, if you had a white belt put a Kimura on you, you'd be like, oh yeah, I would probably tap to that. Like when they put it on, they force it back. You're like, your shoulders going back. Eventually you tap, you're like, oh yeah, that's good, hard. But then you have a black belt put you in a Kimura. When they grab your arm, you already want to tap when they haven't even done the motion. It's like, and this is something I noticed as a white belt. When I would train with another white belt, it was like they do moves and you'd be like, oh yeah, it was kind of good. And then the black belt would do it. This is like when I was a white belt. You'd be like, dude, it was shocking how much different it felt, even though it was the exact same move. And my coach and I, we call that the hidden jujitsu, is that it's the thing. It's because you've done it so many times. It's little things like grabbing the wrist with your thumb in instead of your thumb out. It's rotating your wrist inward. It's moving your hips a quarter inch higher, sliding your foot down, and all these little things turn this move that everybody can do. But the guy that's done it 10,000 times, it's like, it doesn't even feel like the same move, even though you're doing it the exact same way. And fishing is like some people ask me about like slow pitch jigging, and it's like, and I show the technique, but it's like, there's things you feel when you've done it so many times. Like when I'm pitching, I know when it should have hit the bottom because it was like a half second. I'm like, oh, this thing was in the water half second longer than it should be. I'm like, because that's a bite. And then you start reeling in, or, all these little feels, that just the tip acts differently. I know when the hook is, when I'm reeling it in, I know when the hook is fouled because I can feel it swimming differently on the rod. I'm like, oh, it didn't fall right. So I reel it in. Sure enough, the hook is turned sideways on itself. Like you start to learn all these little things. Or like when you practice Ned rig, right? When you throw it, and it's bouncing on the ground, and it's like you have to learn, you quickly learn what is the rocks, what is a bite, what is, like, you feel it bumping right when you first start to get it, and it's like, oh, that's a bite, oh no, it wasn't. And then you start figuring out, you're like, oh, those aren't bites at all, it's bouncing off the rocks, and that's the feel you want. But then you start to be able to distinguish what is a bite and what's actually rocks, and then that's like the hidden fishing. How we talk about the hidden jiu-jitsu, that's the hidden fishing technique. You cannot teach somebody these things, these little intricacies that you learn by feel, you learn by intuition, just by doing it a million times. And it's good to learn from these people. Even Brian was like, I remember when I went on his boat, we were throwing the A-rig, and he was giving me pointers. Like we threw it out, and I was like going to start reeling it in, and he was like, no, just wait. He's like, wait, let it drop a little longer. So I was like reeling in these A-rigs probably way sooner than I should have. And he was waiting. He was showing me how to like look at the braid and watch it fall. And I was like, oh, okay, that's some hidden fishing technique right there. Right? Cast it, let it fall, reel it in. And he was like, nope, cast it. He showed me what to look for, waiting for the line to kind of fall out. That's when it tells you it hits the bottom. Then you can reel it in. It's like all these little things that you just do from like learning, doing them again and again and again. So that was my little spiel. Look up Malcolm Gladwell's book if you want to check it out, The 10,000 Hours. It's an interesting read. And it's really how anybody can be an expert at anything. Bruce Lee, 10,000, he doesn't fear the guy that knows 10,000 kicks. He knows the guy that fears one kick 10,000 times. So moral of the story, just stick with it, guys. Slow down on some of the techniques. And don't be so fast to switch stuff out. Stick with it, I guess, is really the story. Learn something, then move on instead of not learning anything at all and just rotating so many different baits. Like, figure it out first. And I think you guys will definitely step your game up a little bit. At least I have. It's helped my fishing a lot. So let me know what you guys think. Let me catch up on the chat here. See what you guys are into. See how far back I got. I'm pretty sure Brian likes to. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he does too. 100%. And Brian is won the Spotty Bowl every year we've had it, and the shore division. This guy fishes spotties more than anybody I know, and he probably does have 10,000 hours, and he's better than all of us. Brian knows the spots. He knows the feel. He knows where to find them because he's probably been on those bays 10,000 hours and just has such a hidden knowledge that we don't have. That'll probably take another 10,000 hours to find. Like, I 100% agree with that. Like, it's not a coincidence, right, that he always wins. He's a better fisherman than we are. He's done a lot more time on the spotties than we have. Definitely. Pohu guy, that's a good one. Like a magnifying glass and trying to start a fire, waving it around and doesn't start it. Yeah, but when you stop and focus, yeah, it's true. Oh, thank you, Kevin. But also your confidence jig, yeah. But I think your confidence jig is, it's a jig that you know, right? Like, I think it's a confidence jig for a reason. I do too. Like, you try to change out to something, it doesn't work. You're like, oh, the hell with this. Give me the jig I know how to fish. I would argue everybody's confidence jig is likely the jig that they fish the most, and it's the one that they know how to fish because it's worked for them, and they've likely put so many hours into it. I don't think it's coincidental that the confidence jig is probably one that it's rarely something that's like just happened, you know. I fish 4 baits during tournament fishing. That's pretty good. So you rotate the 4. My baits change with the season, though. Yeah, it's good stuff because you got that knowledge. Yeah, but when the season changes, but you're not throwing, but you don't throw certain baits out of season, right? So you're good enough to know which baits work and which don't. But I doubt you're rotating. You're not going to go, I bet you know which baits work at which time of the year, right? So you're probably not throwing baits that you know aren't going to work during a certain season. At least you let me know if I'm wrong, but you probably know which baits to throw and which ones aren't even worth throwing. I'm interested to know that. Yeah, I mean, Spotty, I bet he only used 2 setups, right? And he won. Alex won his division. 2 setups. He wasn't out there fishing 15 things. You might have skill, but experience is what makes you better. Yeah, man, you can't replace experience. Yeah. Yeah, when we were on the boat, it was funny because we were out there slaying it, and these dudes, like, they threw the jig once that it was like they disappeared, dude. They didn't catch a fish the first time. They put that trash back. They were like, oh, the hell with these, like, we're going back to the live bait. It was pretty funny. But I don't blame them, honestly. Like, if you haven't fished the jigs, like, it's just the time you really want to learn. You're getting bit on the live bait. Dude, you know it works. The bite is hot. Stick with it. It's like, I don't blame these guys. You'd rather catch, right, than learn something in that thing. I don't think I'm the master. I'm learning. I'm getting better at it for sure, but I think master is it's a little too lofty of a title. Spam, peanut butter and jelly. Spam's the bomb. Peanut butter and jelly is good too. I've never had them together. It's probably pretty good. If you fried the spam, fried spam's legit, dude. I'd eat a spam peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Yeah, I haven't mastered it. It's just but I know how to I know how to use it. I know when there's like how to catch fish. I mean, I was the only one out there catching on the slow pitch. And other people have told me they've tried it. So like they're like, oh yeah, I tried throwing the jigs, I didn't get bit, so I went to the live bait. I'm like, I understand. You gotta work it. You gotta figure it out. I think it's easier than surface iron fishing though, Kevin. I mean, in my opinion, because surface iron, slow pitch, like you can't really fish it wrong because you can fish it fast and erratic, but surface irons is like you have to know how to properly fish a surface iron, because there is a wrong way to do it. Even if you're fishing a slow pitch jig too fast or slow, that's still kind of a technique, to be honest with you, and it still might work. So it's like, it's not really wrong, but you can fish it like I was, right? You can fish an iron too slow, you can fish it too fast. Um, you've got to like really know that surface iron like cadence, unless you were skipping it on top like you guys were doing. Sriracha PB&J, probably not bad. Part of the fun is fishing a variety of baits. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that's what makes fishing interesting, is you can change, right? You can learn one thing and then go to the other for sure. I think that goes back to kind of the fatigue, because I'll do that too, Salty. You're like, when I get fatigued with something, I'll just like, I'll fish a different bait and see if I can get, just for the challenge, like see if I can get bit for sure. But I think a lot of people, they're not trying to fish a variety. I think they're trying to, you can catch fish, right? Like you can go out and catch fish. So you can go out and get a variety of fish. I think I'm more concerned with people that are trying to catch fish and can't catch fish because they're kind of switching too much. Like you can go to the Texas rig, right? And you know you're going to catch something. I feel like that's kind of like your specialty, Texas rig and the slow pitch jigging. You guys trying to get a cameo or what? What, the baby or Jessica? An expert. Are you a fisherman? Coach, do you got 10,000 hours? I certainly don't. That's a lot of hours, dude. That is a lot of hours. Every lure works with a few exceptions. Fish. Yeah, I agree with that, Coach. I definitely agree. But not everybody can fish everything. I can't fish every lure. Like, I've literally fished in the underspin like 3 times in my life. And I caught one fish, and it's like, and I just kind of shelve it because I'm like, I don't have the patience to like learn it, because I know it's like, there's a technique to it. You got to let it fall. You got to reel. You got to retrieve. If you're in the grass, you want a little bit above the grass. You can fish it at docks. I just haven't put in a lot of time to it. So it's, which is funny because the underspin is like underspin works. Like that was like, there is no disputing that, but I fish the underspin. I don't catch fish worth a damn on it. It's funny enough. It's like, maybe I just been fishing bad days or whatever, but I don't do very well with an underspin. But they're deadly, dude. These guys crush on it. I know that's one of Brian's go-to baits for sure. More question versatility. I can throw an iron with a higher gear ratio speed reel. You don't need, to reel fast. Yeah, I think I had a lower. I was like reeling too slow because it does. I don't think I have a real high. I've got like a Fathom 15. It's like a surf casting reel that I use on my jig stick. But I think it has a little bit of a slower thing. But yeah, what you're right, SoCal Steve, is like, you got to know what gear you have. If you have, I prefer high ratio gears, but like the one I have for my jig stick is not. So I got to crank a little faster than I think what I was or what I'm used to. But like on one of my slow pitch setups, I have 2 Fathom, the Fathom low profiles, and one I have high speed and one I have regular. And it's like, you can tell the difference between the two. But you got to know which one you have so you can fish it properly, man. All that stuff comes into play for sure. Yeah, you can definitely adapt. Yeah, probably right. I don't think, like the old timers. You ever see like the old timers on the boat that don't know how to fish just because like the poor guys haven't kept up? That's gonna be us. Me and Kevin were always talking about that. We're like, dude, we're gonna be these old dudes. I'm gonna be like fishing slow pitch jigs, and there's gonna be like some new thing out. We're gonna be like, dude, what's this old dude fishing over here? Like, you still see it, like these old guys fishing some of this stuff, and you're like, bro, grandpa, what the hell? Why are you skunking out? Because you're using all this old ass stuff. Let's see here. How are the fishing conditions for this weekend? Still trying to learn how to read the charts and understand. Went out yesterday. It was pretty bad on my small 19-foot Oceanside. I haven't looked at it sharp. Some of these guys could probably tell you. I haven't looked at the charts, so I don't know off the top of my head. I know the wind picked up a little bit earlier this week, but I don't think it's supposed to be too bad. I haven't looked though. I'll be honest with you. I think somebody here could probably point you in the right directions. I mean, or we can like look at it. Let's see here, windy.com this weekend. Let's see if we go to Saturday. Oh, it doesn't look that bad. As long as you're staying this weekend, actually, I think it looks pretty damn good. As long as you're not going up like past the Channel Islands, because we don't have to go very far. I think you'll be okay. I think it looks all right. It's not like, um, it's not like the best conditions, but it's not terrible either, right? Because we're right here, just wind wise. Of course, I haven't looked at the swell, but if we're, yeah, that's not bad. It's a little worse later in the day, but it'll always pick up. Well, that's Sunday, so Saturday. That's not bad at all, dude. Considering, oh, this is good. I'd go. This weekend's fine because really, you're only going to be right here. You're not even. You won't at this time of year. You don't even need to go this far. If you're launching out of San Diego, I mean, you can fish here, and you're going to find what you need right within this pocket. Let's see. Sunday. Oh, that's good. A little more Sunday afternoon. Sunday's a little worse. Still not bad. I'd fish that all day. Yeah, that's not bad at all. At least as far as wind goes. I haven't looked at the swell or anything, but if we're just talking wind, that doesn't look bad. I'd fish that. No problem. No problemo. Luckily, we don't have to go that far. So yeah, dude, go for it. That's usually what I look at. And then sometimes you want to look at tides too, like tides for fishing. You can look at the swell, but the wind is like California is usually never that bad. The wind is like your biggest kind of enemy. Plus, you don't have to go that far. You can always just take it slow. That looks pretty good. Let's see. To me, it sounds more like Brian fishing Mission Bay than give him a bay that he's never been in. Yeah, we should have you know what you should do? Eric is have next Spotty Bowl, do the final like in like Newport or something, or like some bay that nobody around here even fishes, just to see how it goes. That'd be kind of interesting. Probably wouldn't be fair, but or do like an all-star match, take all the winners from every division and then have them fish a bay that like not we're not too familiar with. You know how like they play the Pro Bowl in like Hawaii or whatever? I don't know if they still do, but like in football, they play in like some different state that just never has football. It'd be kind of interesting. I think you've mastered something when you can do it comfortably with almost muscle memory. Yeah. Furthermore, when it doesn't work, you know what went wrong and you can adjust with purpose. Yeah. Yeah. Like me and Kevin went fishing. We went looking for barracuda earlier or late. Yeah. Earlier this year. The barracuda were popping off up in LA. So we made a trip. It was actually on my birthday. We went up there at a Long Beach. And what's funny was we didn't catch anything. And it was like, we were driving back home and when I say, I think we both caught like a calico or something, but the fishing was bad. The day before they were getting these huge ass barracuda, like limits of it. So we wanted to go do some barracuda fishing. It was like close to shore. And it was funny because we were talking, we're like, dude, just we both had those moments where we were like, do we even know how to fish? Like, do we even know what the hell we're doing? Nobody on the boat was catching anything. So it wasn't like it was just us. And he was right. He was like, we know it works. He was throwing the service irons. I was throwing jigs. And it was like, just, I think I was maybe throwing service irons in too. It's like, we know it works. You just keep throwing it. Just keep throwing it. We're like, yeah, you're right. But it was funny because we were both kind of questioning. Like, it was one of those days where like, Dad, you question your confidence. Like, do I even know how the hell to fish? The fish just weren't there. I don't think the captain really had us on him either. It was a rough day, but it was one of those days where you question if you know what the hell you're doing. Mark G. Oos, welcome to the show. Glad you could join us. Glad you can join us. Brian likes to fish. Went up to a bay. He hasn't fished and got sixth SPS when it was spotty only by himself. Hell yeah. Brian's the man, dude. He is the spotty king. California spotty champion. You guys don't know. If you got spotty questions, if you guys fish spotted bay bass, Brian likes to fish. This guy is the guy to ask. He's no joke. He is the man. Been listening, came in late, got a promotion, and been busy. Ooh, Stu, congratulations. Hopefully you got more money with that promotion, with all that extra work. That's awesome, dude. Hopefully it doesn't cut into your fishing time. Mark, are you ready for the pickle run? That is the question. Mark went with us last year. Yeah, that was fun. Mark went with us last year. He was instrumental. He was helping. He was one of the main one carting us back and forth. That was awesome. Till he's beaten. That's funny. Kicking ass and taking names. I would definitely like to understand. Yeah, dude, just gotta go throw it, man. Go get it. Slow pitch is so fun, dude, when you get it. I think. And it's cool watching people, like when people watch you get bit on it, they're tripping out. It's a lot of fun. Slow pitch jib, spam, peanut butter, and jelly. I'm gonna have to make that a color. Call it the SPJ. Make it like pink, brown, and purple. It'd be like the ugliest jig in the world, but that'd still be pretty funny. Or would we stack it like do the colors vertically instead of like a cross? Do them like pink, brown, and purple. I'd probably get bit. Probably slam it. Sort of like diamond, slow pitch jigging, sort of like diamond jigs. Work it right, and they'll hammer them. Yeah, those diamond jigs, dude, no joke. I've never really used them, but I bet they would get slammed. Like I can see the appeal of that for sure. There is no losing in BJJ. You either win or you learn. Same for fishing. Always learning, man. No, thank you, dude. Oh, we got Nudes HD, best adult dating site, guys. New sponsor, new channel sponsor. Get it while it's hot. Sorry, Nudes. Welcome to the Banhammer. Done. Out of here. Not on my watch. I guess that's how you know you're getting popular, man. When the porn sites start looking you up, it's how you know you've made it, right? Isn't that what they say? Like the porn industry, like dictates the what's the word I'm looking for? Like the platform. Remember when there was like HD DVD and then Blu-ray, and people were like, whichever one porn goes to, whichever format they choose is the one that's gonna win. I don't know. Maybe you guys don't remember that. That's what I heard back in the day. DJB, what's up, dude? Oos, for your information, the 20-gram chartreuse will catch cohos in Alaska's rivers. 10 gram would have been better, but I stuck 10. Hell yeah, dude. Get any pictures? That's awesome, bro. Hell yeah. I love to hear it, dude. That's so cool. I think hopefully next year we get some 10 grams rolled out. I'm still trying to decide what we want to do with the 10 grams. If we stick with the same design and shrink it, or if we do something new. So that's kind of what we're dealing with. That's awesome though, dude. Hell yeah. I love hearing that stuff, man. That's some guy sent me a picture from Florida, and they got some they were killing them over there. Somebody got the slow death jigs from Florida, and they were using them and sent me some pictures. It was freaking awesome, man. I love seeing the new catches, like especially like we got the freshwater fish now. They'll eat it, man. They'll eat it. Conditions flatten out a bit tomorrow. Weekend's going to be, yeah. So that's the thing. That's what we were talking about. So he was asking about conditions. The weather's going to be good, but dude, it's going to be, what do they call it on the East Coast? The Googans. It's going to be Googan City, dude. It's going to be nuts out there. It's probably going to be a parking lot. Everybody knows the bite's on. It's no secret anymore. Everybody's going to want those dodo pictures. It's gonna be chaos for sure. I think you're gonna be able to get bit though. I don't think they're shy right now, and it's like honestly, guys, I don't think it matters. Even though it's a zoo, you'll probably still find them. It's not like there's one patty or one spot that's gonna get eaten up. Literally, just pull up and you could probably get fish. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, Yoch, I always see you out there slaying them. It's true, dude. Sand bass freaking all day on those things. Halibut too. Yeah, they crush that thing. Even just out in the middle. Yeah, go out in the middle of the channel, like where that ridge drops off, where it's like 50 feet, drop a 60. Dude, all day. Super fun. Oh, interesting. Never seen a big opal eye caught on lures ever that I can remember. Sounds like a challenge, dude. Yeah, Salty, he knows. I'll send you some jigs, coach. I want you to catch one for me. We also didn't think you can catch whitefish either on the jigs, but it turns out you can. We thought their mouth was going to be too small, but we ended up catching whitefish on the jigs, which is freaking hilarious. I am, dude. I'm super excited about that, actually. Not reeling it up. I think I'm probably going to have to buy an electric reel, but I'll try it. I'll raw dog it a few times. I'll go with just the muscle. Just take it slow and easy. Oh, no, they're back. They're back. Nudes HD is back. Need the band hammer. They got it. Let's see if they show up again. Yeah, I don't have my mod anymore. Now Jessica's got to like take care of a baby. Come on now. Is that more important than the show? Raising a child? Come on now. More money to boat. That's right. Dude, Salty. I like where you guys' heads at. Oh, they're all over the place. I can't get rid of them. They're catching up. That was a killer for me. All right, guys. If you don't have anything else, thank you for joining. Super awesome. If you have any more questions, let me know. Submissionfishing.com. If you want to buy your jigs, buy your ticket at Submission at Sea. Get your merchandise. If you guys want to become a member, channel members helps. If you want to get your little belt icon, you guys see the custom emotes that you guys spam. I saw a lot of new faces in there. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. There's another live show that goes on Mondays at 8 p.m. on. You guys check out Fishy Hour. Brian likes to fish. Actually, the Spotty champion here, he does the show. Salties joins him sometimes too, and then Wednesdays they do a show as well. So if you kind of like this format, check out their show. I'm just kind of like the knockoff of them, so you got to give them the credit where credit is due. But yeah, good seeing you guys in the chat. I love watching you guys chat it up. I mean, it's all about. Thank you everybody in the chat for helping out, answering questions, helping out the new guys. Great stuff. Lots of black belts in the chat here. Lots of better fishermen than me in the chat too, guys. So I don't have all the answers, but a lot of these guys do. So I really appreciate their knowledge. And yeah, getting closer to the 24th. Benji Moreno. That's right, baby. Spam those emotes. Sharp Detailing. Thanks for stopping by, man. So we'll see you guys next week. Same time, 7 p.m. Like I said, I'm going to have a video out this week. So if you're interested in the slow pitch jigging, like I said, that's all I did. It's about a 13 long video of just fishing the patties with these jigs, primarily the 60 gram, some of the 40 gram, a little bit on the 130. But yeah, check it out, guys. And if you're fishing this weekend, stay safe. Until next time, guys, let's get those black belts in fishing. Oos. Peace.